Meeting for the Select Board of the Town of Bellingham. This meeting is recorded. Our last meeting was at the Arcan Meeting Room. This meeting is now on Zoom per the governor's allowable circumstances because the town meeting room is being used for voting. We expect to be back for our next meeting in September. All right, first up, we have Lenny? No? All right. Lenny is not on the line. Well, second item of the agenda is a joint appointment by the Select Board and the Library Trustees. Also a discussion on the HVAC replacement request for a fall town meeting. Bernadette, would you like to open this up or someone else?
Sure, I'll start. At their meeting on August 13th, the 4 members of the Library Board of Trustees unanimously voted to recommend to the Board of Selectmen the appointment of Sue Garton to fill the open seat on the Library Board of Trustees.
Okay. Any discussion from the members of the Select Board?
Sure, we got a crew out here running.
Okay. Hearing none, any no additional discussions. Can I get a motion from the members of the Select Board for the appointment of Sue to fulfill the term, 1-year term? Hillary?
So moved,
Sorry.
Michael.
It's going to be until the next town election.
Okay.
And then that from there, they'll have to elect a candidate for a 2-year term.
Okay. Dawn, did I hear you make a first?
You did.
And do we have a second?
Second.
First and seconded. Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
That is a unanimous from the Select Board. I'll get used to saying that. Although I don't see Cindy, right? We're 4-0 tonight.
Yeah, hopefully she'll be on.
All right, so we're 4-0 and 1, Hillary, and unanimous from the Library Trustees, correct?
Correct.
Sue, welcome back.
Thank you.
All
So
right.
excited.
The second library item is the HVAC replacement request. If you'd like to go into detail on that.
Sure. So Carol is going to present from the Board of Trustees on the HVAC.
Great.
Our HVAC system is original to the building, 31 years old. Over the past few years, we have been experiencing issues with both the heat and air conditioning. This summer, the AC required extensive repair to extend its life to function. Its replacement has been on our strategic plan for a while, and although our current plan had the replacement scheduled for next fiscal year, replacing it before additional funds need to be expended for its continued repair or before it fails is a priority. When we are experiencing the problems this summer, Bernadette sought advice from Roger Oakley. On his recommendation, Don Robinson, a representative of Northern Energy, a Mass Save contractor, visited the library to evaluate the HVAC system. After his evaluation, one of their subcontractors came out last week to look at it with the intention of preparing a detailed quote. Mr. Robinson of Northern Energy informed us that because the subcontractor estimates the project will cost over $100,000, he said a very rough estimate is $120,000, and will require going out to bid, that he recommends we hire an independent consultant to design the system. They cannot do that level of detailed work not knowing that they will receive the contract for the projects. He also recommended that we look at getting a comprehensive upgrade that not only includes the HVAC and furnace, but also controls that might make the project eligible for national grid incentives. We'll work with Roger Oakley or other town resources on the next steps for hiring a consultant to design the system. To ensure we have a functional air conditioning system next summer, we are requesting the system replacement be included on the November town meeting warrant so that the system can be replaced in the spring between the heating and air conditioning season.
Okay, any questions from the Select Board?
Michael, this is Don.
Yep.
Mary, thank you for the information, Carol. Mary, where would this funding come from? I'm sure that you've considered this. I'm just curious where the funding would come from if we did put it on the warrant.
Guys, so at this point, Dawn, we haven't finalized funding sources for capital projects. The request actually just went out. The library HVAC repair and replacement is coming in higher than we had originally thought was going to be the case. I think we were hoping that it was going to be about half that amount. So at this point, I don't want to be held to a funding source. It would,
Okay.
but that will be forthcoming in the next couple of weeks as we start to evaluate other additional capital projects.
So I have a few more questions. Are there any grants available, like for buildings like libraries and town halls? Are there federal or state grants available to help the upkeep and maintenance of these buildings? I'm just curious. No?
From what I know,
Bernadette?
the state doesn't have. The state has a library construction building grant program, which
Okay,
that in 1989 that helped build our building, but it is for construction. It's not for upkeep.
there's no maintenance. Okay.
No maintenance or upkeep.
It's the green communities money that we can apply for annually. Jim, when's the first time we can apply? Got the first allocation. We're doing some school lighting with that, but when would be the next time we could apply for something?
Yep, so we have to wrap up our first project, which will likely be over winter and into the spring, and then we could attempt to achieve a competitive bid for the next one. So it wouldn't be till we probably would know this time next year if the school project went well, that is. And I don't recall, Bernadette, was the HVAC captured in the buildings, the public building review for green communities? I feel like, yeah.
I don't know that it was.
So I'm not sure if that would be a high priority on the green communities list, that's all.
Okay.
So in the grand scheme of things, is it just simply the fact that has to get done and we'll figure all the financing later? Dennis, Mary?
Yeah, I think that's the case, Michael. I've been talking with Bernadette about the system probably for several years. They've been having problems there, it freezing up and shutting down. It was down for a while. Mary and I have been talking about a lesser number, but I think we're gonna have to come up with a plan for funding.
Okay. Hearing that, I would entertain a motion from the select board to pursue bids and ultimate submission for the fall warrant for HVAC for the library.
So moved.
All right, I think that's, we'll go with Kelly, then Dawn on that one.
No, I think it was Dan, not me.
Dan,
I'll second,
okay.
yep.
It was
Hey,
Dan.
there you go. Any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none, 401. Hillary. All right. You're all welcome from the library to stay on, but I assume that you've got better things to do on a beautiful evening.
Thank you so much.
All right, have a great night.
All right, take care.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Seeing that Lee Rolls is working tonight, I would like to just move to the 5th item under the 7:45 other business so that Lee can, doesn't want to sit around all day. I also, Lenny is on the phone, so he'll be next.
Hi, how you doing?
Hi, Lee. So we got a request from, what's the name of the street? Lakeview?
Okay, yes, for a street light.
Right. And
Yes.
your note, I mean, obviously we rely on your judgment, but I guess needs some perspective. I took a ride down there. I don't know if any other members of the board did. And from the point of Cross Street all the way out to the resident's house, I found 8 streetlights currently there. And that this house is at the 5th from the end of a dead-end street. So
You still have the people walking down there. You have pedestrian traffic, and it's dark down there. Did you go down there at night?
I did. Well, it was dusk, but
Yeah.
I took in perspective that I live on a street that has no streetlights whatsoever. And
Yep.
they have a street that has 8. And I was wondering whether we would consider moving a streetlight that already exists versus adding it.
We could do that. You asked me if I think the added light should be there, and I agreed to it. Maybe we can move one light, but that road is so narrow and so long, and there's pedestrians walk up and down it all time, and it's like a lake atmosphere over there.
Yeah.
So I believe that that street light will be warranted to put in.
Okay. Anyone else on the board have thoughts?
I felt the same. I actually took a ride down there during the day and in the evening. And like you, Michael, I only have one street light in our whole neighborhood that's, 3 dead ends. I counted 7 streetlights, so I must have missed one. So and knowing where that resident lives, I personally just thought that it was kind of odd. I get that it's a narrow street, but there isn't any through traffic. And if there's already 7 lights on the street, I wouldn't see the need to add another light personally.
Lee, there seemed to me that there was a point right at the middle. I think it was where Briar meets that there were 3 lights close together. And would you agree that maybe if we could explore moving one of the lights, that might be the first step as opposed to adding a light and setting it?
Sure, but how wide are your streets? I mean, the street is very narrow. There's hardly any room for 2 cars to go through there. I'd be sure if you want to move a light, but you asked me to make my recommendation. My recommendation would be to put that extra light in. We could always move a light.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'd be adding to a problem in an area where the light was already generating the light at night. But, you asked me my recommendation.
Yeah.
And for the safety of the public, that I think, putting that light up would be safer.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want to move it, we'll look into. I'll explore that and move it. Maybe move a light, but that's a tough spot down there.
Would there be any objection to the board if we just defer and assess the lights that might be able to be moved, so we're not adding a cost to the town, and having a discussion in September?
I'm okay with that.
Dan,
Yeah,
you good?
I'm fine. I'm just, yeah, I'm inclined to go with Lee's recommendation, and if he thinks we can move one safely, then by all means, let's do that.
Okay.
So I ditto Dan's sentiments. So if Lee feels we need it, but I don't mind going down, taking a look either, see if we can move something.
Yeah, all right. Again, I think the safety is the most important thing in these recommendations, but
we did have a pedestrian accident there last year. A person was hit, so that adds to it. I think that's where the neighbor's coming from.
Okay. Well, I mean, deferring for 1 month won't hurt if we can just assess the lights on the rest of the street at night.
Okay. Go down there at night, though, not at dusk. Make sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Lee. Yeah. Have a good shift. You're on till 11?
No, there's one more item.
No, we got one more item on High Street, I was told.
Yeah. So, Michael, I brought this to the attention and asked this be covered.
Okay. Yep.
Everyone knows where I live, and I've actually asked the Prescotts, and I believe Patrick Prescott has joined as well. And the reason why I'm bringing this up tonight is that we are encountering several, not just occasional now, but several tractor trailers that are coming onto High Street from Route 126, and they're going over that bridge, and they're really just, there's signs there, and it's getting worse. And the majority of them are actually taking rights and going into Victory. So Jim can only do so much. Every time this happens, and not even every time, I ask Jim to make a phone call out there. But what my idea is, and I don't know if this is possible, I wanted to bring it up. I'd like to see if there's some way legally we can enforce a fine, or at least put a sign up there that infractions will follow by a $500 fine. Because what you guys don't see or experience is when tractor trailers going over that small bridge over the Charles Inn coming up, they can't take a left or right. And they're just doing some crazy things, and it's really difficult for them to swing right, swing left out of High Street, and it's causing a lot of trouble. We don't call the police every time. The Prescotts see it. They send me videos. I see it, and I'm just wondering if there's a way we can enforce a fine, because there's no teeth at all. And maybe we put a sign and just say this is monitored by cameras. We don't have to put a camera there, but we can say it. But I'm suggesting we do something to stop this, and it's only getting worse. And I can't say that it's Amazon. It really, the majority of it is going into Victory. But I did see one the other day that actually came out and took a left and went to the mulch pit, those big mulch trucks. So for whatever reason, their GPS is taking them there. We got to do something. They're going to ruin that bridge, and we'll have High Street will be out.
Hey, one thing that isn't a 5-ton bridge. That sign was put up. that bridge has no weight limit on it, so we're not damaging the bridge.
Oh, we're not, okay.
No, I'm great. I was gonna really come down on that and maybe have the state police truck team come out. And then I found out that years ago, those signs were put up, and the bridge isn't a 5-ton bridge. There is no weight limit on that bridge. So my teeth, yeah, I mean, to sink your teeth in there, they're gone. I was thinking, and if you'd bear with me, when we have the low bridges, like you have the low bridges, I've seen them in Dedham and Framingham and Boston, they put up 2 stanchions, and then they put a big sign across it saying low bridge ahead. If we could put some sign up like that, but 2 stanchions and a sign going all the way across the road at the beginning of High Street and at Maple, the beginning of High Street at North Main, and maybe put one on Main Ave. We could put, now the road is a scenic road and there's a lot of tree limbs. We could say maybe low tree branches, no cut through for 18-wheelers or trucks, and put the stanchions up with a piece of steel across it, and nobody can get under it.
We would have a problem if someone was trying to move with North American van lines or someone getting deliveries.
Yeah, exactly. We can't do that. I agree with that.
What if, is there an ability, Lee, to establish a fine? Because we do have a camera system down at the landfill. I think it can be moved on. Can it? That camera that we put down at the landfill, so we can take that. We put that down there because we were having problems at the landfill. Motion, it detects motion. So, you know, maybe we could put it and put down under surveillance and try and put it in a place where it won't get vandalized. And if we pick up some of these plates and contact.
I was asked, Vinny Forte has the cameras. I tried to get with them this week. That would be great. The Board of Health has them too. They said they could put them there for littering, and at the same time, we could catch those plates that are going through. But right now, we can't get them for the bridge. It's a public way, so we'd have to come up with some kind of bylaw to keep them out of there, which I'm for. I mean, those tractor trailers do not belong on High Street, you know. But we're going to have to come up with some type of maybe a bylaw, or I'll check into that with our town council. See if
we could do something saying no through traffic over 5 tons.
We could say something like that. Yeah. But it's got to be real. And right now, there's not a reason. They need a reason, and there's no reason for through traffic for 5 tons and above. Like the school buses are well over 5 tons, and many school buses go up and down that road. So how are we going to police that when we have our own school buses going up and down that road?
Right.
Yeah, maybe commercial traffic over so many tons. Yeah, but we'd have to check with our bylaws and see if we can come up with.
All right, can we take this up at the September meeting and see where we're going to go with it? Because I like the idea of the cameras.
And in the meantime, maybe Dawn and I could set up a meeting with the manager down there.
Yes.
And just have a sit down with them and have a conversation. See if we can't come up.
That would be great, Dennis, because I think maybe we could have him send a letter to all his vendors, reminding them something along those lines. And, you know, if bylaws will allow us to, you know, ding them for $500, I'd love to make that a toll road for the commercial vehicles.
That would be great. I would enforce that to the fullest for you. If we could. Yeah.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Lee, for joining us.
Yeah. I'll keep your town safe till 11.
Okay. Thank you.
See you later.
Lenny Goslin is on the phone, and Lenny, the floor is yours to discuss the recent ABCC issues and anything else relative to alcohol in the town you want to cover. Lenny, you're muted. Got 2 minutes. Come on, Lenny. There he goes.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me
now?
now?
We can hear you, Lenny. Go ahead.
All right. Sorry about that. So regarding alcohol compliance checks, on August 4th, we put out notifications in which, like we do whenever we do the checks, to give all the establishments 2 weeks notice. That went into the Woonsocket Call, the Milford Daily News, and I had Karen put that on the website. Before that, on the 23rd of June, I was getting some reports regarding some possible underage drinking at one of our establishments, the Sol de Mexico restaurant on Mechanic Street. So I went in and I spoke to management. Enrique Hernandez is the manager, and his son Alejandro. I told them that since the outdoor dining had opened up, that there's been reports not only from people, but there's also been some social media posts regarding that. So he said he would take care of it. They did not have any devices in play. I suggested that they look into an ID machine, which they did purchase. So now we'll move on to a violation. I believe you're aware of that there was a violation by the ABC there. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so quickly, I was in contact with the ABC again today, and I got a copy of their report, and I'll briefly give you a quick summary. On Thursday, August 6th, at approximately 9:10, investigators Gould and Keefe investigated the business operation of Sol de Mexico Bar and Grill, LLC. Upon entering the licensed premises, investigators observed a group of youthful appearing individuals in possession of what appeared to be alcoholic beverages. Investigators identified themselves and requested identification from the underage individuals. The following information, and I can't get into names, but I can tell you that there was 3 individuals from Milford that all had fraudulent Connecticut IDs. They all had alcoholic beverages, and they're actually identified to which beverage each of the individuals had. All 3 female individuals indicated that they showed their Connecticut fraudulent IDs to the waiter. Investigators were then approached by the manager, Enrique. Investigators advised Enrique of the violations and advised him that a report would be filed with the chief investigator for further review. I can tell you that that has not come up in front of the ABC yet, but it is on their schedule.
What,
Any questions?
well, I think for the rest of the board that I know already that we have no teeth as far as an ABCC identified violation. It has to be on our watch.
So we cannot double bang somebody. So their violation, they'll face a fine and possible suspension of their license. He couldn't tell me exactly which one or both. Once they do meet with them, I will get a report regarding that.
Okay.
I also, go ahead.
And the timing of your in-town searches or policing, what's that?
So I also went into Chelsea to the ABC to get the most current warning signs. So on August 4th, I spent 3 days visiting 34 of our 38 establishments that either sell alcohol or serve alcohol. The only ones that I could not visit was obviously the Route 140 pub because they are not open. The VFW, which is not open. I think it's Ernie's or Friendly's Liquors. Mr. Pelletier is opening. That is not open yet. And there was one more. Oh, the cinema. The cinema has not opened yet. So those are the 4 that I was not able to provide the proper signage. I will say this, out of the 34 that I did visit, only 5 of those actually had signs posted. So I gave them all verbal warnings. I gave them copies of all the new signs to be posted. And I told them that I would be giving them a couple weeks to get everything in order, and I will start making some visits to make sure that the signage is up.
Okay.
I'm also working with the ABC because I've also got word of another establishment in town that may be selling to minors. And I've also have 2 calls into businesses regarding identification machines, because I'm under the impression that that was something the board would like to look into.
Yep. Okay. When would you have that information on the machines?
Well, one of the companies, according to the ABC, they suggested that we go with a company that's actually located in Medway. They're in the process of changing their whole company, but he said that the most of the casinos use it, so it's a pretty reliable system. But once again, the system is only as good as the people using it.
Okay. Thoughts from the board? Anything?
Mr. Chairman,
No,
so
I-
this is Ian. So yeah, hello? You got me, Mike? Hello?
Yes.
All right. So right now we have no, the ABCC is going to be acting on their investigation, right? So there's nothing that we have as far as abilities to mandate any kind of act.
That's correct. That's correct. According to the ABC, and I believe when I spoke to Mr. Frayne also, he's aware of this, that we either have to find them or the ABC finds them. And in this one, because it was the ABC investigation I was working with, they took it on.
Okay, thank you. The other thing I just want to bring up real quick is I know I was talking to Robert Griffin with regards to his tobacco enforcement as a new tobacco agent, and nearly a third of the checks that he did were not in compliance either. So we definitely want to tighten up the reins when it comes to compliance with regards to tobacco and alcohol sales in this town. So just my thought.
Okay.
Exactly. I've been working with Rob. He's been excellent. And I'm also, like I say, working with Investigator Keith from the ABC so we can get some more stings accomplished. It's just kind of tough during the COVID times because everyone is supposed to have their bar service closed and just working, off a table and waiters and service.
Okay. All right, so you'll keep us updated, Lenny, on the enforcement and give us information on the cost of those machines, because obviously if we have enforcement issues, historically, we've made the establishments buy those machines and go from there.
Absolutely. I know I went up to Larry's package store. I looked at theirs. Theirs not only scans it, but it also takes a photo and keeps a copy of the photo, because we've used it for other investigations on with the police department. They're not cheap. They're probably between $5,000 and $10,000. But as I explained to a few of these establishments, what's the cost of your license if you lose your license? And that the board of selectmen and the town administrator and the police chief, we are aware of some of the problem areas, and we'll be working on correcting those.
Okay. All right, thank you very much.
All right. You all have a good night.
Appreciate your time, Lenny. Thank you.
No problem. Anytime.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Lenny.
All right. As we are approaching 7:30, we'll get into the public hearing for stormwater rate setting. I will read into the record. Public hearing legal notice dated August 14th. The Town of Bellingham Select Board will hold a public hearing on August 24th, 2020 at 7:30 p.m. via Zoom. The hearing will be regarding the adoption of stormwater, utility fee regulations, and revisions to the stormwater fee schedule. The Zoom meeting information was available. Individuals requesting hard copy of regulations and fees can call the DPW. Individuals wishing to comment but who cannot attend the meeting should submit written comments to the DPW office, Blackstone Street in Bellingham. Dawn, were any comments received by the DPW office?
No, they were not to my attention, so no.
All right.
Okay, I think that none of this is news to you folks, but I've got a little info to kick things off. Under the authority granted by the Federal Clean Water Act, the U.S. EPA utilized the NIPD's permit to implement a significant stormwater quality requirements on municipalities and urbanized areas, of which we are one. The original so-called MS4 permit was issued in 2003. It was manageable, required municipalities to do more, but they were affordable measures. The revised MS4 permit was issued in 2018 after many appeals, many years of appeals, and included the same basic measures, but added significant cost requirements municipalities must undertake. The EPA and federal government have not initiated a funding program to assist municipalities in permit compliance. The cost burden falls entirely on the municipalities. Our 2021 stormwater budget is approximately $1 million per year, which is a cost that we could not simply absorb with our current tax revenue. In order to preserve other key town offices services, the town voted at the November town meeting in 2019 to allow the select board to utilize Mass General Law, Chapter 83, Section 16, and create a stormwater utility enterprise fund. Tonight's hearing is for the select board to approve a stormwater fee regulation, stormwater utility fee regulation, and revise the stormwater fee schedule. You may recall that just before the end of the fiscal year, before the town meeting in June, we did accept the schedule. Our MS4 engineers, Ty and Bond, assisted us with drafting the fee schedule. We believe it will generate the revenue necessary to fund the town's efforts to comply with the MS4 permit. The fee system is based on the amount of impervious surface on a parcel. This is the standard procedure for utilities, for stormwater utilities. The impervious surface parcel data was taken by Ty and Bond from the public website, Mass GIS, and it was based on 2016 imagery or photogrammetry. Ty and Bond also helped us in drafting the regulations, which has been vetted by our town council. So you have in front of you the regulations and the revised fee schedule. A little bit about the revised fee schedule after discussion, and I forget per se whether it was a full board or whether it was the subcommittee, but it was decided to eliminate any maximum limit. So every commercial property is going to be charged based on their impervious surface. It also put into the wording of the fee schedule, seniors who will get a 50% discount, as well as Lifeline customers who will get a 50% discount. Those manipulations were made to the schedule that Ty and Bond had put out, and we came right around the same number of projected revenue. So we think we're in good shape to move forward with this. And that's pretty much all I've got. So questions, and fire away.
Sure, I think it was an improvement to get away from the tiered structure and to actually have a cap. As I think it just didn't taste right. So I'm very comfortable with the outcome, but anyone else on the board have thoughts?
I think this is good, and I think it's comparable to what other communities are doing based on what we saw. I think back in November, the big meeting where the state came in and showed us some numbers. And
yeah, I can contribute to that.
Like you said, I think not using the tiered rates, it's very cut and dry.
Okay.
If I can contribute a little bit of data, and it's, although it's not much updated after November, it's the one that's still on the website for Mass DEP. As of the table that they have on their website was last updated on December 3rd of 2019, so almost 10 months past that. At that point, we were one of 21 communities either working to or having a system in place. And actually, at that point, there were 17 that already had a fee system in place. The fees for a single-family residential property range from a low of $6.25 to a high of $62.50. We're right in the middle at $24 a quarter. We're right also almost dead on the money. The three other towns on this list that are in the Charles River Basin, which has its own special level of responsibility related to phosphorus, are all right around $24, $25. So we're not, the sanity check is there. We're doing, it's not like we're charging people 3 times what we should. And again, this is a new system. We'll be sort of learning if we get the revenue we expect to. It's sort of, that's always true with rate setting. It's a little bit more art than science. And I don't think we've gone off the deep end to making too much money. And I think we'll be in a position where we can cover these costs.
Okay. It's a public, so go ahead, Dan.
Oh, yeah. So I just want to reiterate what Don had mentioned. This is a federal unfunded mandate that the town has to come up with these funds. We've been doing it out of our regular operating budget for the last several years. The scope of the increase of what we need to spend now is going to greatly affect our budget, which is why we implemented the enterprise fee. This enterprise fund only goes to stormwater. So I know people, the first reaction is going to be, great, another tax. This is nothing that I wanted, and I'm sure that none of the board members, I don't want to speak for you, but wanted to do, because honestly, it just takes away from the operating fund if we didn't do this. So it's an unfunded mandate that was put in place by the EPA and backed by the DEP, and we have to comply one way or the other. And to do this via enterprise fund, it will minimize our impact on our general operating fund. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there for anyone who may be listening.
Good stuff, Dan. Thank you.
Yeah. I have, Mike, I have nothing to add. Everyone said everything.
Yeah. It is a public hearing, and I see one participant, Mr. Martin. If you have any comments on this, you could unmute. Otherwise, I will entertain a motion to, Mr. Martin.
Oh, sorry. No comments.
Okay, thank you. I just saw you unmute. All right, I'll entertain a motion from the board to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we got Dawn and Dan on that, Hillary. Before we take the vote, just a clarification, Dawn, we'll see the narrative that's going to go out to the residents beforehand, correct?
Correct. Yeah,
okay.
Jim has been working on that. I think Jim worked off of a Braintree flyer that looked pretty good. So we're getting close with that. That's going to be wrapping soon. One thing I did notice, and although I read it a million times, I read right through it. If you are going to sign the fee tonight, there is a typographical error in bullet number 2 in the second line. That should be 4 or more units in order to be consistent with the above section. So if you mark that in the official one that we sign, that would be great, Hillary. If you want to mark it up, or I can send you a clean copy, because obviously everybody isn't there to sign right at this point, but that modification should be made to be consistent with what's listed above.
Okay.
And that's all I got.
All right. I saw a couple more parties join. I don't know if you wanted to comment on the stormwater, but we are about to close the public hearing if otherwise. No, all set. All right. Motion made, second. All those in favor of closing the public hearing, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, 401. And I'll now entertain a motion for the fee schedule.
So moved.
Reluctantly second.
All right, Kelly and Dan, all those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, none, 401. We're on to bid awards.
No, you gotta also accept the stormwater utility regulation.
Okay.
Don't forget that one. That's the public hearing covered both items.
All right.
Okay.
I have a motion from the board.
So moved.
Second.
All right. We'll go with Dawn and Kelly for that one. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Dan muted. I saw him say aye. Read his lips.
As with Dan, I say thank you, but I wish I would never wouldn't have to be bringing this forward.
Yeah. All right. Next up is the annual. Well, we got North Main Street sidewalk improvements.
It's just an award for the bid for that work. It's being funded by a community development block grant. Work is actually well underway. We didn't want to hold the contractor up and just didn't want you to have an emergency meeting for something that's more of a formality because they are the low bidder. There's not really any complication. It's as much as anything making sure the select board knows what we're doing out there. So.
Okay. Can I have a motion to accept the fiscal 21 rock salt bid. Or did I not do North Main Street? Sorry.
You didn't do North Main Street.
All right, sorry, moving too fast. Would someone like to make a motion?
I make a motion that we award the bid award contract 2020 N MSI -SWM for the North Main Street sidewalk improvements to Richard D'Ambrosia, Inc. of Weymouth, Massachusetts.
Go ahead, Kelly.
Second.
There you go.
Second.
First and seconded.
I just got a quick comment, if I
Please.
can. Don, so I've been driving by there and I noticed that we're using lots of granite for the curbs. Is that like common standard now? Does that increase the cost as opposed to asphalt, or just curious?
Well, especially with handicap access ramps that need to be sort of a tight spec. Having the granite curb just is sort of your straight edge to work off of is pretty standard.
Okay.
It'll also the granite curb is encased, but sits in a concrete sort of an arch that holds it up. So it will take a serious plow effort to move that and put in a situation where we've got that one that's built right, and then we have to go back and fix it because somebody's damaged it. So that's
okay.
It is pretty standard. And knowing that we were going to get grant money for it, it seems the best way to do it. If it just gives us a much better product.
Excellent. I was just curious. That's all. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, none. 401, or actually 40 because Cindy's not coming on the call. All right, next item up, rock salt fiscal 21. Don, the obvious question was the shed's pretty full, but this is if we replace it at any point in the year.
Yes, I mean, when it starts snowing, we order salt. We don't. You can't stop ordering salt until you get somewhere into mid-February, and look at where the shed is. So we try to keep it full, just in case, because we've seen that happen before. The weather all of a sudden flips and we get 8 inches of snow every 4 days until the 1st of March, and the shed, looks like looks like we got a leak in the bucket. So yeah, we will be ordering, but we won't be ordering as we did the last few years. Start the year with an almost empty shed, and before the first flake falls, have spent almost our entire budget. This year, we'll wait to spend our entire budget until we have some snowstorm.
Okay. Would anyone like to read the motion?
Sure. I move that the select board authorize the DPW to purchase rock salt for fiscal year 2020 in accordance with the bids received in the cooperative bid number PW412, administered by the town of Framingham. It's going to Mid-American, right, Don?
Yeah, I haven't got it in front of me, but yes.
Yeah.
You have it in
So
front of me.
Mid-American.
I had a hard
Yeah.
time pulling it up.
Mid-American Salt LLC in the amount of $46 I'm sorry, are we getting the treated?
No.
I'm confused now.
We
All right, so $46. $46.37 per ton, with a note that last year the low bid was $47.50.
Okay, just to clarify, you said fiscal 20, so it'll be fiscal 21. Do we have a second?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just for the record.
So just a question. I'll second it, but I have a question. So this is delivered, Don. This isn't picked up because there's a rate of 44 for pickup and a rate of 46.37 for deliver.
Correct.
So are they delivering it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. The only time that we don't, and to make delivery cost effective, you would have to have tractor trailer, which we don't own.
Okay.
In most years, and you'll see some of the bidders bid no different. They don't want us to show up with tractor trailers. If people are short on salt, there are so many tractor trailers there. Imagine putting them on High Street, because that's effectively where most of these places are. They're like a residential neighborhood, probably next to the dock somewhere. So they have enough of their own trucks lined up and don't want 3 trucks from Bellingham lined up.
Gotcha.
But when in years we can't get salt, we've done it and we've gotten some.
Okay. So who seconded that, Kelly or Don?
I did.
All right, Don. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, none, 4-0. Next up is the lead paint testing service for the 2019 CDBG Housing Rehab Program.
Can I interject a second?
Please.
Dennis, we had talked about me mentioning something else, and I forget what it is now. Well, we're talking about the DPW project. Is that what you wanted to kick around tonight a little bit?
Yeah, there was well, I don't know if we're prepared to bring it up tonight, Don.
Yeah,
I think
okay, just
some big costs involved with the engineering and design for the project that you were working on.
yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, the select board, or back then selectmen, the Board of Selectmen came down and saw what the DPW's got going. And I know that there was some school finance bonding that's going, so I sort of want to stick my foot in the door. I probably won't see it well, sitting in my office, but in order to attract a successor to me, let's maybe want to consider giving him a nicer place to work. So we'll be bringing that up with Mary and Dennis through the conversation. I just sort of want to mention it now. I've got something drawn up that's sort of a basic master plan that cuts, you know, what was an $8 million project, hopefully to well below that, but it's still pricey.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're not going to replace the paneling, are you, Don?
Paneling.
The vintage, it's in your office. All right.
They're painting it today.
Nice.
The lead paint testing services has to do with the housing rehabilitation program. And essentially they have a company on standby in the event that they're doing a housing rehabilitation project and they discover lead paint. This company would come in. So they bid it out every time they get a grant award, and the low bidder was Caulfield Environmental. So we'd look to have to award it to them, and they essentially would be on call in the event that we needed them, and it would all be paid for through that CDBG grant.
Okay, does anyone want to follow Dennis and just with a so moved?
So moved.
Okay, Kelly, seconded by?
Second.
Dawn. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Dan, you're still muted. There we go. I can read lips. He said aye. All right, 4-0. Next up is the pilot agreement for the power plant. Dennis or Mary, you want to comment on that?
That has to do with the power plant on Depot Street. It's the Northeast Energy Associates, although they recently changed their names again. It is the agreement between Northeast Energy Associates and the town. And essentially, it's become an every 3-year type of thing. When the plant was built, we talked about a useful life of 20 years. It's been 30 years now since the plant actually came online in 1991. This agreement calls for $1.1 million in taxes each year over a 3-year period, which is still a hefty sum. When it first came online in 1991, I think the peak payment was about $2.8 million. So it has gone down. Mary and I did a fair number of conversations back and forth with the representatives. We also have a gentleman by the name of Sansucci. He has his own firm and he specializes in this field. We had some conversations with them, but we think it's a fair amount, and we'd recommend that the board execute or enter into the agreement. It's the exact same as the agreements that we've had with them over the last, I think, 10 or 15 years, with the exception of the dollar amounts, which unfortunately continue to go down. But it is an aging plant. It's a peaker. It's used when they have peak demand. They're paid to basically be on standby in the event that there's a great need for electricity. They have to be ready to fire that thing up in 2 hours. So any questions? Mary, anything to add?
No, I think, Dennis, you did a great job. I appreciate it. I would just sort of underscore that this is a 3-year agreement. It's certainly in the town's best interest to continue multi-year agreements, so that we're not subject to, sort of declining economic conditions on an annual basis. It provides us with a guaranteed revenue stream for at least, the next 3 years before we enter into negotiations with them again. So as Dennis had indicated, we would ask you to provide favorable recommendation on this.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to accept the pilot agreement between Northeast Energy and ESI Energy and the town of Bellingham.
So moved.
So moved.
All right, we got a first by Don, second by Dan. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? None, 4-0. All right, Legacy Grill. Hillary?
Yep, so they just, they had come to me about a 1-day permit for outside. They're having a tournament. And so I recommended that she just go with what the governor's executive order is, allowing all outdoor seating with alcohol and food during the pandemic. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. So she'll have it until at least November 1st, and she won't have to pay a fee for a 1-day permit.
Okay, motion to approve outdoor seating for Legacy Grill.
So moved.
Second.
First and seconded, Dan and Kelly. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? None, 4-0. Seems to be the theme of the night. Discussion on White Cane Toll Road fundraiser by the Lions Club. They came to us last time. They've since updated some of their thoughts on how they would manage COVID-19. Would anyone like to elaborate or make a motion?
I had actually emailed with an additional question asking if they had talked to the Board of Health about this additionally, because I didn't see that in any of the correspondence.
Okay, and did you get a response from them or?
No.
They would never, they don't typically deal with the Board of Health. And it would basically be up to the select board at this point.
Okay.
I mean, I think as long as they're meeting all the socially distanced guidelines, wearing masks, gloves, etc. But we can bring it to Bruce if you prefer.
To me, there's no difference than going through Dunkin' Donuts drive-through and going through the toll road drive-through. So as long as they're wearing masks, if they're in compliance, I don't have a problem with it. They certainly give a lot of scholarships to students and stuff. That's all for a good cause.
Okay. That work for you, Kelly?
Yeah, that's fine if that's what the board wants to do.
Okay. Motion to approve the.
They also asked about the Santa drive through the neighborhoods. So they'd like to plan on doing that. They want our recommendation. Do you want them to just continuously drive through neighborhoods? Can they stop and just not have kids get on the sleigh? What would be your recommendation?
Maybe what they could do is plan on having it, and then we could make the determination as to whether or not they can stop, kind of like the Easter Bunny back in April, driving through the town and waving, you know?
We did stop at, certain intersections because there were lots of kids and wave, but we didn't allow any kids, in the vehicle, near the vehicle. So that works.
All right.
I agree.
All right, so Hillary, you'll share that with them. We need a motion to approve the White Cane Drive on, where is the dates, Hillary?
There's no dates yet. They're starting their planning now. They just, before they pick a date, they wanted to run it by us.
All right. A motion to approve during 2020.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, when they're, it's usually October. I can just say their October date, yeah.
Does that work for everybody?
Motion to approve the Lions Club.
Second by Donna Kelly.
Motion to approve.
Kelly or Don second?
I'll second.
Okay, first and second. Dan and Dawn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none. Scott Hill Boulevard. Is that Dawn or Dennis?
Dawn, you want to take that one? That's
the contractor's been made aware of it. He's, I don't know what the schedule. As a matter of fact, I thought they might be hitting there today. They're sort of on hold on Hartford Ave, which is the last piece of work they need to do for us. They're on hold on Hartford Ave because the gas company is supposed to be showing up tomorrow to get their pipe out of the way so that they can go back to work and get a pipe across Hartford Ave and not have that flooding problem we have with that mixed bag hybrid. We call it a hybrid, not like hybrid school, but hybrid pipe going across Hartford Avenue at Pilgrim Village. But the contractor's aware that it's an unacceptable hump. He was told that pretty much the day after he did it. Just a matter of him getting out there and getting a fix in place. So it could be as soon as tomorrow.
Okay, they lost their shirt on that deal, huh?
Yeah.
A lot of lead.
Lots of rock.
Michael, while Don's still here, that there's something else that he and I had talked that I thought maybe we bring up briefly tonight. One of the big flooding areas that we have in town is 15 acres, Newland and Lazat. I think the bulb just went off. Yeah, so we have a grant opportunity to pursue. It's an area, Lazat Drive constantly floods, and Newland floods. It's the biggest problem that we have as far as one neighborhood, and Don got some good information on a grant opportunity. Don, you want to take it?
Yeah, it's a HMA, which is hot mix asphalt to me, but hazard mitigation, I forget what the A stands for, but it is a federal grant. I think the new terminology for it is a brick. There's going to be some information on how to apply for it, issued between now and September 30th, when it becomes officially out to bid on the grant funding. They're talking about having a lot of money available in it. However, it is our cost estimate is in the $2.5 million for the whole project, and we have to come up with in the neighborhood of 25%. So it's $700,000, $675,000 of town money we have to put up and be ready to put up in order to be good candidates for the grant. It is the area that we see the most actual damage. We're very lucky as far as flooding goes. There's a lot of other cities and towns that have severe issues. That's an area we see if it flash floods, the road is completely flooded. Any vehicle goes in there is done. I tried that out myself, if you may recall, a few years ago. Yeah, doesn't, it turns out the Cromviks do not have the submarine capabilities you would think they would. But in addition, cellars flood and so forth. So it is really our only flooding area that's a major concern, and it's just a question of, you can't get it for nothing. We've got to step up and be ready to put up in the neighborhood of $700,000 to get it. So
it's another one. Wouldn't obviously make a decision on tonight, but if we're interested in it, we can sit, Mary and I and Don can sit and talk about it and try and figure out if there's a way it makes sense financially to put something before you. We're not ready to do that tonight, but I do think it's probably one of the high priority areas as far as flooding goes.
It's not a very good picture, but this is my, when someone calls, when Don would have called me, I have his picture standing on his roof. From that
well, you have to stand on the roof before you can sit on it. I found that out. It's hard to climb out the window and not stand on the roof.
It was hilarious. 3 feet of water, and I saved that picture a few years ago of him.
My feet never got wet.
Yeah.
And just for informational purposes, there is one other area of flooding that we have. It's no place near as severe, but it's the Indian Run to Lake Hiawatha. To Lakeshore Drive. And that's really just drainage system deficiency. And we've got our engineers, Ty and Bond, looking at helping us attack that as a town project, which maybe have a price tag of under $100,000. So I'm not sure that'll be ready to come forward, be brought forward possibly for funding this year. But that's something we're working on. That's by no means big enough to go through the rigmarole and hassle of all the paperwork involved with a federal grant.
Okay.
And those are our only two big flooding areas. So again, we're very well situated.
Okay.
So does everyone feel it's worth at least pursuing, doing a little more investigation on this to see if we can't come up with some funding options?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Don. I'm glad I thought of it before you left.
I knew it was something else. It wasn't the $4 million DPW, but I had to ask. Have a great night, everyone.
Thanks,
Don. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up on the agenda is a Sunoco update. Is that you, Dennis?
Well, you did receive a letter correspondence from our attorney back to the owner of the Sunoco station. It's been an ongoing issue. I know the building commissioner, Tim McCarty's been up there multiple times. They have made some headway, but they're still very much in violation. So town council is going to go to the next step, and unfortunately, we're going to have to go through the court process, which right now is somewhat tedious, especially for things like this because they're so backed up. But we haven't let it sit. We did get an indication from the owner that they were going to try and work with us, but for whatever reason, he just isn't able to get anywhere near in compliance. So we'll move forward, and I think the letter from town council speaks for itself as far as the action that they're going to take.
Okay.
Yeah, Dennis, I counted 47 cars up there today.
Yeah.
So clearly the letter made a huge impact.
Yeah.
They cut it down from 50 to 47. But it's kind of a joke at this point. Yeah, he sold the 3 cars. That's right.
Yeah. Which he doesn't have a license to do. So.
Right.
So one thing, Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yes.
I was driving by there and I noticed there is a large portion that actually have license plates on them.
Yep.
Is there a way we could verify if those are legit license plates that are truly registered to that vehicle? Or are they just, window dressing?
Yeah, we have done that before.
We have, okay.
We have a police officer go up there with Tim and did just that, and they were valid plates. So
okay.
He does do quite a bit of repair work. He's got a specialty and a following, but he just, has too many unregistered vehicles there. I mean, the less can have 2. And I don't know if all 47 of them were unplated, but I'm sure at least half of them were.
Yeah. All right.
Most of them were unplated.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for that update. Next up is the Community Opportunities Group for Administration of Small Business Grants.
Right. The grant that we received, there is a component in there that allows us to hire a consultant and pay for the administration. The bid we'd like to award to Community Opportunities Group. As you know, they've been managing our community development block grants for quite some time. So it's a multi-town grant, and we'd like to award that contract to them for the $83,000 administration fee.
Anyone like to go with that motion?
So moved.
Second.
First and seconded, Dan and Kelly. Any discussion, questions? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, none. 4-0. It's the theme of the night.
Yeah, Mary, we're on grants and businesses that the checks for the first round of funding did go out. The funding that we had received back in the summer, those checks that the board had approved went out, I think, 2 weeks ago, Mary. You can just nod. Yep. Yeah. Thank you. So
it was very nice that we actually got some thank you notes too. I thought that was very classy of the businesses that were able to do that.
Right.
So, all right. Motion to approve the July 13 and July 22nd minutes.
So moved.
There's a second. First and second, Dan and Dawn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none. Kelly, are you doing abatements, or have we shared that wealth?
I am. I met with Hillary, so I knew how to do them. So, Mr. Chairman, I move the board to accept the charges abated in June 2020 as follows. Capital improvement charge, total of $128.12. Sewer, $79.33. Trash, $275.50. Water, $2,972.48. Water service charge, $53.79 for a total of $3,509.22.
Second.
Am I looking at the wrong list? Because mine is like $9,000.
That's July.
That's July.
Okay. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Dennis, your administrator's report.
You have to do the
wanna do
July
it?
abatements, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. You're on.
We're rushing this meeting tonight.
He's got to get to the golf course. I mean, it's night golf tonight.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I move the board to accept the it says July 2021 abatements. Capital improvement charge for $142.50, sewer for $98.05, trash for $598.88, water for $8,311.92, water service charge for $20 for a total of $9,171.35.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Dan. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? None. 4-0.
I think the 2021 is the fiscal year. I think.
Fiscal year.
Yeah. And because at the bottom, it does say July 2020.
Yeah, it looks different on the top, like levy, but no charge. Yeah. So July 2020. Sorry.
Michael, can I just add one quick thing? I forgot. We need signatures on the pilot agreement and signatures on the stormwater rate setting.
Yeah, and you'll make
So
the
if you
edit
guys-
that Dawn wants.
What's that?
You'll make the edit that Dawn wanted.
Yeah. So if you guys could swing in this week, I would appreciate it.
Okay.
And I have some reading from the chief, fire chief, for his capital requests to
Yeah.
hand out.
All right, Dennis, you're on.
All right, you've got a tax increment financing proposal that was sent out with my information from QCD, Quality Custom Distribution. Jim and I had a lengthy conversation with them a few weeks ago. They're interested in leasing a portion of the Lincoln Properties building, and they were looking at proposing or have proposed a tax increment financing agreement, which essentially would abate 80% of their tax burden the first year and decrease from there. So we felt the obligation, obviously, to present it to you, but certainly would not recommend it. I think the board needs to take a formal vote and let the Office of Business Development know that it's not something that we will be supporting. Typically for warehousing, these types of tax increment financing agreements are not approved. The state used to provide some incentives. They don't any longer. I was talking with Kevin Kuros, our former state rep who works for the Office of Development up in Worcester, and he was saying they haven't done one for a distribution, excuse me, I said manufacturing, a distribution facility in quite some time. They're not unusual. There are some good ones. If it was a development that the town really wanted, something that we felt we needed and we wanted to do something, work out an agreement with them that might make sense. A few years ago, we had a dilapidated business on Depot Street, and they wanted to invest several $1 million to fix it up and turn it into a tax-paying entity once again, and the board entered into an agreement with them, and it worked out well. They saved a few dollars, and they did a nice job rehabbing the building, but that's not the case here. I don't think we're having any trouble. In fact, distribution facilities. So unless you have questions, what I'd like to have is just a motion to not approve the tax increment proposal submitted by QCD.
I make a motion to oppose the application for TIF to QCD. I'm not in favor of giving them an 80% tax break. Sorry, not happening.
I will second with a comment that it's a brand new building, so it's not as though they're going to do immense upgrades to it. I'm sure we have lots of people that would like that location as a distribution center, and the potentiality, if that's the word, of maybe employing, if we put this into a TIF agreement, an additional 15 employees in 3 years if we made them Bellingham residents, I don't think is worth the tax incentive. So, so that's my second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Kelly, you are aye?
I'm an aye.
Yeah, aye. 4-0. We did the pilot, and how about Candlelight Lane?
Yeah, got a letter from a gentleman that lives on Candlelight, who, if you read the letter, essentially what it is he moved into Candlelight Lane in 2016, didn't realize that his water bill
How's he doing?
included a trash bill as well, and evidently paid it, has never received containers, never utilized the service, and we pretty much confirmed that's the case, but typically we only go back 1 year with these. So he wasn't happy with that response, and I told him the only other option would be to present it to the Board of Selectmen. But essentially he's looking for, we did give him or processing 1 year's return on his $380, but he's looking for the previous 3 years as well. And that's pretty much what he stated in his letter.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yes, please, Dan.
If this gentleman paid $380 for 4 years and didn't receive a service, I don't have a problem with reimbursing him the money he paid that he didn't get a service for.
Yep.
I mean, it just seems right to me. You know.
My only thoughts were on that is that when we do the rate setting for trash, we are doing it based on projections for the current fiscal year, and we're giving back money from previous fiscal years. Obviously, he got 16 bills and had the ability to read what he was paying, and we have historically only given back the 1 year. So although sentimental of his plight, I could see where we would say no on precedent. Kelly, Don?
Yeah, well, I was thinking the same thing, Mike. If I had 16 bills and continue to pay it, I think the onus is on me if I shouldn't be paying this or not, if it says trash and water on the bill. So I feel bad for the gentleman, I really do. But if our precedent's been 1 year, I'm not inclined to change that. Not that I want to be stingy. I mean, unless there's a reason why he can't read the bills, I think we stick with the 1 year precedent.
So, Mr. Chairman, if I might.
Yep.
So the only other thing that I noticed in reading his letter, and Don, you kind of hit on it, and I'm going to try and say this in the nicest way I can, but I'm wondering if there is a language barrier a little bit, having read the letter.
And that it looks like it was typed?
Right, but that it's
typewriter.
It seems that it maybe there is a language barrier there, but I get what you're saying, because when I saw Dennis's report before I saw the letter, and that was my first thought was, I'm gonna read every single bill I'm paying. I love this town, but I don't want to give anyone more money than what they should be getting if I'm not getting the service. So why didn't he question trash and not ask for barrels?
Yeah.
The whole thing is just, yes, very unusual situation.
It's odd.
Dennis, is there any indication that he would want the trash barrels going forward and we could just issue him a credit and let him use it up?
He has a business. Evidently, he takes his waste to his restaurant or his place of business, is what he had told me. So he's never used the service, didn't want it. But again, the policy's been in place 1 year. Know what recourse he would have, to be honest, because we're going into other fiscal years.
Yeah. All right. We can put it to a vote. Anyone want to make a motion one way or the other?
I'm going to make him. Go ahead.
Can I just ask one more question?
Yeah.
Do we have this policy in writing that this is the policy that we only go back 1 year?
I'd have to check with the DPW, Kelly. It evolves, but this is something that has come up before. This isn't the first time this type of thing has come up. So I would check with them. I will check with them to find out if it's in writing. I can't say for certain right now. I can tell you this has been the practice in the past.
Practice and policy in writing are two different things, though. So if it's in writing, there's no. It's very hard to argue versus what historically has been done.
Sure.
So do we have to vote on this tonight, or can
We can
we,
defer till September. correct?
can we defer? Because Kelly had brings up a good point. I
Yep.
know that practice is, if we've been doing this, but maybe we should have something in writing. If we don't, we need to put something in writing moving forward in case this does come up again.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
So are residents required to provide proof of
There you go.
however they dispose of their refuse?
Yes.
Yeah, in this case, he wouldn't have, correct?
Mm-hmm. Good point.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I would argue that I think
That
we're,
is policy, Kelly. They either have to take it or they have to show that they've contracted with another vendor for their own house, not a business.
So
he's
then
welcome
there
to-
would need to be some due diligence with the DPW to see, or has anyone checked to see if this address, there's something on file saying the trash is going elsewhere?
Yeah, it's one that's slipped through the cracks as far as the DPW is concerned, in that they were not aware that this particular individual didn't have containers. Typically, we have the serial numbers associated with the serial numbers on the containers associated with the bill, and track them that way. So when the person called, they checked and they realized that, containers were never provided, or they had no record, obviously, of them being asked for. The gentleman didn't look to have them provided either.
Yeah, that's okay.
I think that's your answer. We do have something in writing that you can't just simply say, I'm going to take my trash somewhere else, because you could take your trash to your neighbor's yard and put it in their barrels. You either have to have something on your property or the town trash. So that he has a business really doesn't fly.
Can I interject with that?
Yep.
I own a property in another town, and I could legitimately take my trash to their landfill and get rid of it there because I am a property owner in that town. So would I have to show a deed or a property ownership to say that I'm not getting my trash picked up in Bellingham because I'm disposing of it in the other town where I own property?
Yeah, what we would ask for, because we do have that situation arise occasionally, Dan, is just something from the Public Works Department or whoever manages it saying that, you have a service in.
I don't have, if I don't have a service, I could go to their landfill though.
Yeah, as long as you had something verifying, because the whole idea is to prevent people from taking it and just throwing it in somebody's dumpster or something. So all we would ask for, the DPW would ask for, is something from wherever you're taking it saying that it's okay that you're taking it there.
Okay, thank you.
So you could do that.
I'll make the motion that we do not refund more than the 1 year we have already.
Second.
First and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
No, just to ruin the trend tonight.
That's all right. 3-1, Dan. We respect that. All right, Dennis, you want to cover the BVT situation?
Sure. Michael and I have talked about it and had conversations with Mary also. Probably a month and a half ago, Dr. Fitzpatrick, who's the superintendent there, had put something out looking to see if the member towns would assist with PPE and make a contribution towards the school from the CARES Act funding. Mary did a good job coming up with a number based on per pupil funding, but there's been some speculation. The whole reason this came up is because some of the regional schools were left out of the CARES Act funding. There may have been an opportunity for them to receive CARES Act funding now. So I guess this would be subject to, if they weren't receiving CARES Act funding, what we would be proposing, or I'd be proposing, is that we look at, it says 25,000, but Michael, you and I talked earlier, right? It was 24,000 that we would provide from CARES Act funding. We did get an opinion from the DOR, and it would require a vote of the board. And again, I think we only want to do that if, in fact, they were shut out of the CARES Act formula.
So any action needed at all now, Dennis?
Yeah, just, I would say a vote of the board would be required. Really, we're transferring funds from the CARES Act money that we received. Obviously, BVT is a part of the Bellingham public school system. We own a 13th of it. I don't understand why they wouldn't have gotten some CARES Act money, but obviously if they have, the vote would be contingent on it. If they do in fact get it, we wouldn't be providing this.
Okay. I'll entertain a
So-
motion. Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, so this is for PPE for the upcoming school year? Is that my understanding, or?
The offset costs that they've had with PPE, Dan, I think they have set aside funds for it, and they're trying to, they took money from other accounts to buy their PPEs. And what they're looking to do is put that money back wherever it was and utilize this for PPE.
So, and no, nobody might have the answer for this question but there are 13 member towns at 20, let's call it 25,000. Did we know what we spent for our school, in town school district as far as the PPE and the offset?
I think we asked the schools to reduce their budget by a certain amount that we're going to be replenishing. I think it was 250,000. Mary, what's the number? Yeah, so approximately $250,000. And obviously, the other thing that we would look to make sure is that the other communities are participating in this as well.
Right. All right. I guess my point is if BVT as a high school is looking for 325,000 roughly, and as a district we only spent 250 for basically the same thing. I'm just wondering if the numbers mesh.
Mm-hmm.
That's my only concern.
So what you're saying, Dan, just so I understand, is why would they have to spend 325 if we're only spending 250?
Right.
What more are they spending $75,000 more on?
Yeah.
You're saying, okay.
Yeah, I don't
That's a
know.
good point.
Yeah, I don't know that our school system would be limited to the 250. That's what they reduced their budget by, but obviously, more than that will be allocated ultimately. I think.
I can assure you that our school district is spending more than $250,000 on not only PPE, but other measures that they need to take, need to enact in order to open schools. BVT is doing the same thing. They're trying to come up with an estimate. The thing with BVT and the challenge that they have is the way their budget works is they set an assessment. So they built their budget back in January and February. They set the assessments for the member communities, and they are bound to that assessment. They don't have the flexibility like our local school district does to work closely with us. And so that's where Dr. Fitzpatrick came up with an estimated budget. Dennis and I have been working back and forth, but we also are subject to the requirements and restrictions imposed by the Department of Revenue, and they have indicated to us that recently regional school districts have been granted access to some CARES money. So what we want to do is ensure that they do in fact have access to that funding, and if they do, then we will not pursue this contingent approval that we're asking you guys to take. But if they don't have access to that, we want to make sure that that school building is available and prepared to accept our students along with all of the others.
All right, perfect. Thank you. So that clarifies a whole bunch. Thank you, Mary. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
So I will make the motion, if there's no further discussion, to approve the contingent 25,000 or 24,000, whatever the number is, Michael Dennis, for Blackstone Valley Tech from the CARES Act funding for the town, from the town of Bellingham.
Second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, hearing none. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, 4-0. All right. Dennis, thank you for your report. Do you have any old business? New business. I believe, Don, you wanted to cover something.
I did. I just wanted to bring an idea forward to the board to see what they think about. As all of you know, many of our college student residents that live in the town of Bellingham, many of them haven't had the opportunity, won't have, to go on campus this year and have that campus experience. And a lot of that campus experience is networking, hanging out in the common area, throwing a Frisbee, having a coffee, all those things. So the idea came to mind that we have this beautiful town common And I think all our kids know that we have a town common. But when I see the town common, I look at our senior citizens that use it to walk, which is wonderful. I see when the playground's open, all that, we see families with small children there. But I see all this beautiful open green space, and it's not being used. So the idea that I had was, and I don't know even if we have to go to the Board of Trustees at the library, is to kind of promote and let these our college student residents in the town of Bellingham and suggest, obviously they go there, using social distancing, to kind of commune, to come together, to be a community. Even a lot of these kids are stuck at home, trying to do what we're doing right now, learning from Zoom. And my suggestion is that from the board, if you think it's a good idea, I don't know if we have to go to the Board of Trustees, but I just wanted to kind of promote and let these kids use that town common for more than it's for some sort of community usage. That's all. During the day, hanging out, having a pizza, whatever it might be. And then if it's something that's working, maybe even get involved in bringing some food trucks, during lunchtime, where these kids could purchase lunch from a food truck, just to give them some sort of positive experience. I mean, there's kids that are freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors that aren't going back to campus because the campuses aren't allowing it. So just a thought, just wanted to run it by as an idea. No.
I think anything that brings greater use of the common is a plus.
Yeah.
I was struck by the fact that you may have seen from Shark Tank, Cousins' main lobster food truck has been behind
the
donut shop on the other side of the plaza.
Mm-hmm.
And it could have easily have been in the common, as you noted.
Yeah.
So, Dennis, what's procedure as far as dealing with the trustees?
I usually initiate it through Larry, but they have a secretary that takes in requests, but we could certainly funnel it through Larry and have him present it to that board. They meet fairly regularly.
So, I mean, if the kids just wanted to show up and just kind of hang out, they don't need the trustees' approval.
No.
But what we would want to do is
things like that.
Pardon me?
It would be the food trucks that we would have.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I was going. So if we wanted to invite various food trucks to that area, and I guess would there be permitting required for food trucks? Does Cousins pull a permit when they're, that lobster truck behind the Dairy Queen?
I would think they should be pulling a common vic license, wouldn't they?
Yeah, well, they're licensed. If they're a food truck, they've got a license from the Board of Health, but that would have to be presented to the trustees, Don, definitely, if they were going to do some sort of food operation down there. But, not to say it can't be done. I mean, it's just a matter of planning it. But you're right. If they would just be there and congregate, then nothing's required.
Yeah, and again, this may go nowhere. I just see this as a great place for our kids, all of our kids. Mine's not included. She's away. But if she was here, I'd say get your friends to the town common, have some fun, play Frisbee, do a little something so you can stay together as a group. That's all. We have this beautiful area, and there's just another use. And kids aren't thinking of it. They use it for prom pictures. That's about it. So I just want to know if the board would be behind it if we went to the trustees.
Yeah, if we need to, if there's something that needs to be organized there, then by all means. But I think, as you said, you can do some unofficial organization.
Yep.
Don, you could probably lead a hacky sack group. That's what
I could.
You're harkening back to the days, aren't you?
Absolutely could do that. It's been a long time, but yes.
I think anytime we can get community involvement and community groups together, it's always a benefit. So I like the idea.
Okay. So maybe Dennis, I don't know if you're meeting with the trustees, I'd love to meet with you and them or talk to Larry about it and then figure something out. Again, kids may not do it at all. They just might say hunker down in their house. Who knows? But I just want to get it out there.
Offer them free pizza and they'll be there, Don.
Free pizza. Yeah, exactly.
All right.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for indulging me.
We do have voting coming up on September 1st in the high school. And maybe just a brief update for clarity. It may have already closed, the fall warrant, when that closes, and When we'll have discussions about capital for the fall warrant. Dennis or Mary?
I think Hillary's going to give you the answer on the fall
Yeah,
warrant.
the fall warrant closed Friday, the 21st, but I'm,
We have
I'm never a stickler about, what's that?
We have placeholders for the town stuff.
Yeah.
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 And Mary, when would we have discussions about potential available capital? You and I have talked about reviewing our investments, refinancing, and available cash.
So I believe that I am a guest on your agenda at your next meeting in September. So we will certainly be prepared to have conversations about a number of things at that point in time. We did issue the capital request documents to all of the department heads today with a due date of September 11th. So we have already started to receive some capital project requests from some departments, but we should have all of them by the 11th. And as we start to gather those, Dennis and I will sit down and take a look at funding sources. So we should have a draft project plan for you guys to take a look at your late September meeting. In terms of certified free cash, I will have a good draft number at that point, but it will not be certified from the DOR until probably mid-October is what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping to deliver it to them by October 1st. Takes them a couple of weeks to turn it around. So by mid-October, we should be able to have a certified free cash and retained earnings number to work with.
All right. I think that satisfies our agenda, other than a reminder that Hillary does need signatures this week. So everyone can stop in. Anything else on the agenda, folks, we're missing? Jim, we didn't get to hear from you much tonight.
That's all right. I mean, that's a smooth meeting then, if you don't have to hear from me.
Very good. Motion to adjourn?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
And a
Second.
Second.
Kelly beat me. Kelly beat me.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much, folks. Have a great evening.
All right, can I?
Good
Good night,
news,
everyone.
thanks.
Bye.